this is Faith at Faith and Books. I'm going to do a quick reading update. Let's see, what did I want to talk about? First, I'll show you a new book that I got. This is Strength to Love, Martin Luther King Jr. It's pretty slim. It's a nice, I like the nice white pages. They're nice and crisp, easy to read. It's got these nice flaps. So it's Fortress Press. The Power of Scholarship, it says. Anyway, it's a nice feel to it, and I'm reading this for my new book club, the AND campaign. I'll link to their national webpage, which is a group that I'm involved in right now. And anyway, I'm excited about reading this. I think we're starting April 27th, but I don't know if we're supposed to have read it by then. I don't think I will, but I'm going to try to at least get started. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Where do I put this? The second thing is that I am getting into Dante's Inferno again. It's been slow reading this week, though, because I've been really tired and I've been preoccupied with other things. I think I forgot to mention that I just became the administrator for this Facebook group, the Buy Nothing Project, for a new group. And that's been taking a lot of time because just establishing it and membership and that sort of thing is kind of stressful because I don't quite know what I'm doing yet. But I have a lot of other people I can confer with. It's very interesting. I like the idea behind the project. I think I'm the oldest person there, though. I think they're all much younger. So that was kind of stressful. And then this week, I was in charge of the Adopt a Highway program that my church got started in last September, and we did our cleanup this morning, and I had to be there, but since I've been having my ankle has been really bothering me, I didn't really actually go out. Other people went out, and I just sort of provided the vests and all that sort of stuff, the direction. So that was something. I'm glad that's over with. It was a good thing. But it was kind of stressing me out. And then just other things happened. So it was just not a great reading week for me. If I did read, I read a very tiny bit. So I'm really slow. I've been trying to catch up with the Dante read-along. Can you see that? Inferno. I decided to just settle with this. I have a couple different versions, but I just like the way he translates it. And I like having the Italian on one side and the English on the other. And I noticed something in the back. Jennifer Brooks did a video on things you should read before you read Dante, so you get all the numerous references. And this guy kind of did it in the back, too. This is Anthony Isoli. In the back of it, he has these appendices, where he has things like Virgil from the Aeneid. He talks about, he's got that. Yeah, lots of quotes from the Aeneid, or long passages that Dante is referring to. Then he's got the Vision of St. Paul. Who wrote that? I'm not sure. Was this from the Gospel or from the Acts of the Apostles? No, I don't know what this is. That's really interesting. Visio Sancti Pauli. Interesting. Okay. And then this is Appendix C. This is from St. Thomas Aquinas, Summa Theologica. So he's got lots of that in there to read. Then from something that Dante wrote himself, De Monarchia. Got that. Anyway, it's just full of great stuff written by Boniface VIII, Unam Sanctum. Just all sorts of things. Anything else? So that's really interesting, and unfortunately, I haven't really had time to go back and look much. But I am up to Canto 8, so I'm making progress. So, and I haven't read this in so many years. It's really like reading it all over again. Although I mean, reading it without having any much memory of my first reading experience, the actual material in it. Anyway, so that's that. And then, I wanted to do a shout out to a new channel that I just subscribed to. It's Knittings, Books, etc. I think. And the woman's name is Christina, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, Ferriara. And she is in Lisbon, Portugal, which my aunt lived there for a year after World War II. She worked for the State Department as a coder or something like that. She got to live in Lisbon for a year or maybe 2 years, long time ago. Anyway, Christina she's reading a million books, but she also wants to start reading Les Miserables because she said her grandfather just always read that book continuously. So I'm reading Les Miserables right now. I haven't gotten very far. I think last time I did an update, I said I'd gotten to page 400, and I just looked, and I'm now up to 460. So you can see how little, because I've been reading it right before I go to bed mostly, and I literally read 2 paragraphs and then I fall asleep. So yeah, so it's not working so well, but hopefully this coming week will be better. And now I have the weekend, I can relax and get a lot of reading in. I was busy this morning, but this afternoon I've been reading. So the other thing that Christina mentions in her video is that she started a reading log. She has a very nice typed out methodology, the way she keeps track of her readings, because she's reading more than I am, a lot of stuff. But I decided, I got this little book when I went to the inn at Little Washington a couple years ago with my husband to celebrate our anniversary. That was one of our bucket list things because we've heard about this restaurant growing up. And so we went there. Well, it was established in 1978, so I was 18. But in this area, you hear about it a lot. So, and we've been trying to go several times. We'd say, let's do it for our anniversary, and it would be booked up. You have to really book in advance. So finally we got there. And they gave us, this is one of the little gifts you get in your room, along with like wine and cookies and that sort of thing. And so I've been saving this book because it's so nice. It's such a nice book, nice paper. And so I decided to keep a reading log because I felt overwhelmed by all my reading. So I wrote down like 418. I wrote down current reads, Les Miserables, Thomas Jefferson, and Intimate History, Fulfillment, Winning and Losing in One Click America, Dante's Inferno, The Bible in a Year. And then my schedule is Bible in a Year, first thing in the morning. This is the first day that I didn't listen to it because I had to get up and do that Adopt a Highway thing, and I just didn't have time. And right after I record this, I'm going to go listen and read. And then I wanted to be able to read a little bit of Les Miserables or Thomas Jefferson after listening to that. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what time I woke up and what has to happen that day, and if I have any real time or focus. I want to get started on the day, so I don't necessarily have the focus. So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Then in the afternoon, quiet time, when the 5-year-old, when I take my grandson home and the 5-year-old's playing, Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever, then I sit and read a little bit, just with him. And then right before bed, I've been trying to read Dante, and then this week I've been reading Fulfillment, and I've tried to read a little bit of Les Mis. So anyway, I've just been keeping a log every day of what I'm reading. So I'm pretty pleased with myself now. I was really good until April 21st, and then just now I had to recreate what I had done the 22nd and the 23rd yesterday, which wasn't so much. So anyway, I love the little ribbon. So that is my reading log. That's exciting. Now, I did just finish reading Fulfillment, the book by Alec McGillis. I read it, ironically, on my Amazon Kindle. And it is a book I've been talking about. It's all about Amazon and what Amazon kind of represents and what effect it's had on our country and our economy. and how does it affect different places in the country. So he goes all over, just from Seattle and why they went to Seattle. That's because the low taxes, and what the impact they've had on Seattle. Seattle is kind of a mess right now, and part of the reason is because of the success of Amazon, the housing prices have just shot up. But at the same time, they had a real influx with homeless. Of course, that exacerbated the homeless problem. So there's a terrible problem with homelessness there. And Amazon, it turns out, doesn't really give back to the community. It's very parasitic. It works on trying to do the least amount it can to get by. So they're real pros, they're geniuses as getting tax subsidies, getting out of tax laws, having to pay taxes. They're also very good at sort of gouging other people. It made me think of like, did he even say this in was it the Iliad or the Odyssey where Troy wouldn't let, they were like pirates and you had to pay a fee if you wanted to go into the Black Sea, whatever that strait was. And that's how Troy got rich. And that's sort of Amazon. Like they figured out how to be sort of the gatekeepers and then they make you pay. And so they really, they're undercutting local businesses by being able to play with prices, selling counterfeit things, saying that they're selling certain brands, but actually they have their own counterfeit. They charge these local people that think that would be a smart business move to join their marketplace. But they charge 15%, which for local businesses, especially one he analyzed, that's their profit margin. So it really puts local businesses out of business, and it's just trying to take over everything. It's trying to get its finger in everything, and it's the whole thing was to be customer centric, and so they really are very suave about marketing. And we, as a nation, we are so gullible. We really fall for the marketing and the branding. I mean, almost from, in utero, we are brainwashed into thinking about that. And it capitalized on the fact that we're all consumers. That's our prime, purpose in life is to consume. We don't produce very much, most of us. We just, you have to go to work to earn a living so you can consume things, so you can buy stuff. And, and Amazon just took that to the next level. And it underpays its workers. It treats its workers badly. It's anti-union. It's all sorts of secrecy. Just kind of dehumanizing its workers, and a lot of problems. And so, and scary how powerful it's become, and how rich. And it's really the author tries to show how it's really been part of this whole problem, and one of the key, the key components of how there's this growing separation between the rich and the poor, and the middle class is getting, it's diminishing. And that when you have just this, tight circle of rich, and then a growing number of people who are struggling to get by, that creates a lot of political instability. And he talks about Trump and Obama and all that kind of. It's very wide-ranging. This book is very wide-ranging in the way. And the thing is, he is biased. Like, some of the things he says, I think, well, why, how did that, I don't know how that figures in. For instance, and I paid attention to this because I lived in Baltimore and I was familiar with the area, and I remember reading about it or hearing about it. And it turns out he also lives in Baltimore, the author. But, there were two things that happened that he mentions. One, an Amazon delivery truck struck a little girl and killed her, a little 7-year-old. And somehow he's sort of, I don't know, they have a lot of cars, they have a lot of trucks out on the road. And, you know, I mean, kids dart out in the middle of the street. It's bad. But I just couldn't see. I thought that was a little bit too attenuated to somehow connect that accident with Amazon itself. The other thing was he kept talking about a collapsed warehouse. Well, the warehouse didn't collapse because of negligence or anything like that. It collapsed because it was hit by a tornado. Now he does talk about the tornado, but whenever he refers to it after that, it's always just the warehouse that collapsed. So that to me, it's like he's trying to almost attribute this tornado to somehow Amazon being evil. So I do think he's a little over the top, trying to put everything on Amazon. But that said, there's enough there to really worry me about Amazon and its control. And I just want to pull back from supporting Amazon, just blindly, just mindlessly, because it's there and it's easy. I was just talking to my son about this. I don't want other people to suffer. I don't want other people, to collapse from exhaustion or a heart attack in a warehouse somewhere because I want something in 2 days, for my comfort or my convenience. That's wrong. And, the trouble with our whole economy is we're so separated from where things come. We don't even think about it, And we should think about it. It's other human beings, right? And we should be treating each other with respect and courtesy. So I really want to pull back from Amazon. And so I was thinking about how to do that because it's really got its fingers in everything. And I'm not going to be able to pull back that effectively because I have to convince my husband. And my husband is just really, keyed into it. He's very into anything techie and that sort of thing. So I'm going to have trouble convincing him, I think. But I was thinking about Amazon in terms of books because Christy left a comment when I was talking about this about how she knew Books was owned by Amazon. So how do you detach yourself from Amazon? So I've been trying to find out more about that. So Amazon owns a lot of stuff that you don't realize they own. But in terms of books, and I already talked about this, to get away from the Kindle, I really think I might go for a Nook, for Barnes & Noble Nook. But there's, and then there's another one called Kobo. But that's for your actual e-reader. For audio, I know a lot of people on BookTube listen to Audible or audiobooks. And I think I've listened to one from Audible. And there was something wrong with it, and I got frustrated, so I never continued. But I was in the habit of just going and getting actual CDs out of the library. When I do listen, I don't listen that much. I used to listen more when I was driving a lot, driving all over creation, and I would put in a CD. So I have listened to some books like that. But then my son turned me on to LibriVox, which is free. Now, a lot of people don't like it because it's not professional readers, but I think it's like having a family member read aloud to you. They're not going to be professional either. Some of them maybe aren't so good, but they're usually only doing a chapter or two, and then you'll go on to hear somebody else reading. And, I think, to me, it's free. It's right, and I kind of feel camaraderie with the people who are volunteering to read. It's all volunteer, because I think it's just a neat thing to do for other people to say, hey, I'll read to you. And so, I don't know, I'm okay with it. So LibriVox works for me when I want to do audio, and going to the library and getting CDs out works for me too if I'm going to take a drive and I want something to listen to. But there are other alternatives to Audible. There's something, and you guys probably already know about this. I'm ignorant, but I'm just going to list them because, they are, in case you don't know or you've forgotten about them, it would be a helpful alternative to Audible. The other thing about Audible, Amazon does it again. They really bilk the authors out of any sort of money from the book being read out loud. They have all sorts of fees and things that they require, and they wind up not making very much money off of it, even though listening to audiobooks is so popular right now. So you'd think, oh, these authors are getting lots of money. No, they're not. They get it from buying the book, I think, but they don't get it from the Audible recording. So that's Amazon again. That's the way they deal. But anyway, there's Overdrive or Libby. That's libraries. I tried, I think, Overdrive with my library, and I couldn't figure it out. So maybe I'll try again. There's Scribd. I've heard Alan at the Lonely Bookshelf talk about having a subscription to Scribd. I didn't quite know what he was talking about, but that's interesting. There's something called Hoopla. Another audiobooks.com. I think I've heard of that. You can also get some books on Spotify and also YouTube. Sometimes you can find books read aloud on YouTube. So, and then there's always LibriVox, or finding, if you go to a thrift store and hopefully they're in good condition, you can get some books on CD. So those are some alternatives for people in BookTube if you want to try to pull back from being quite so dependent on Amazon. And just don't buy things from Amazon. I'm doing Barnes & Noble. I just bought, where did I put it? My book that I just bought. Oh, I think I said I bought it from Bookshop. Yeah, I bought this from Bookshop. And I'm trying to do, what is it called? Thrift books. Yeah, and Amazon does own both Aid Books and the Book Depository. But I've been doing Thrift Books or Bookshop. Yeah, or Barnes & Noble. So anyway, so that's my response to that. And that's going to be a continuing effort to try to pull back from Amazon. There's lots of other things that we have, all sorts of, tied in with streaming and all that sort of stuff. But, one step at a time. So, all right, so, oh my gosh, 22 minutes, that's crazy. How can I have talked that long? Well, anyway, that is my update. I don't know if it was interesting at all, but that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. Okay, all right, take care. Hope you're doing well, and happy reading. Bye.